With the release of the Fallout series, Fallout 4's popularity is once again at its peak, bringing a lot of new players to the game. Whether you're a new survivor or a seasoned veteran of the wasteland, it's time to go on a hunt for the references, nods, and Easter eggs that the game's developers have scattered throughout the Commonwealth. So without further ado, here we go! Let's start this video by looking at the references behind the characters of the game.
Mr. Akira, Mr. Assface, Mr. Badass.
As you may know, Codsworth can say some of the names chosen by the player, including some from Alien, Back to the Future, Escape from New York, and many other movies. If you stumble upon a Colonel Gutsy, it might sometimes say,
"There's nothing I like better than the smell of plasma in the morning."
This is actually a nod to Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore in the 1979 film Apocalypse Now.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
However, if a peaceful Colonel Gutsy is attacked, it might say,
"What is your major malfunction, maggot?"
as a tribute to Sergeant Hartman from the 1987 film Full Metal Jacket.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
The famous pre-war criminal Eddie Winter, whom Nick Valentine is after, is based on Howard Winter, one of the leaders of the Winter Hill Irish Gang, which operated in Boston from 1955 to 2000.
Ah, is that a Protectron over there? Greetings, sir. Good to see another robot in town. That shepherd becomes you.
Takahashi, the noodle-selling robot from Diamond City, can only say one thing. It's exactly the same thing the noodle merchant says in the 1982 film Blade Runner. If you go to the Boston Public Library with MacReady, he'll sometimes say,
"Let's be careful. No human being would possibly pile books this way."
This is a quote from Dr. Venkman in the 1984 movie Ghostbusters.
You're right, no human being would stack books like this.
You probably know this already, Grognak the Barbarian is based on Conan the Barbarian, a hero that's been featured in several books, comic books, movies, cartoons, and video games.
Come on, man. This is me we're talking about. Let me tell you something. Why'd you have to go and say that, huh? Breaking my heart over here.
The mayor of Goodneighbor, John Hancock, was named and designed as a tribute to one of the first founding fathers of the United States who signed the Declaration of Independence. Inside Union's Hope Cathedral lives Father Gabe, a ghoul priest who can be seen fighting other feral ghouls. This is a nod to Father Gabriel from the series The Walking Dead, who survived the zombie apocalypse by hiding in his church until he was rescued. The faction known as the Railroad, whose goal is to rescue the synths enslaved by the Institute, draws its name from the Underground Railroad, a network of secret routes used by African American slaves seeking freedom away from the southern United States toward the north. Virgil's name refers to the character from Dante's 14th century narrative poem Inferno. The fact that he lives in the glowing sea and helps the player find their way to the Institute is also very similar to Dante's Inferno, in which Virgil guides Dante on his journey through hell. If you complete the reunion's mission with Nick Valentine, which involves taking revenge on Kellogg, Nick may quote a line from Edgar Allan Poe's poem The Raven, published in 1845.
Deep into that darkness period, long I stood there, wondering, fearing.
Nick will also quote Oppenheimer if the player chooses to blow up the nucleus in Far Harbor.
I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Peddling poison to kids, are we? Today, you face the Silver Shroud.
The hero of the streets of Boston, Silver Shroud, whom the player can play as, was created as a tribute to the Shadow, the hero of several novels, comic books, and films, who even had his own radio show in the US for about 15 years.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow.
Now that we've covered the characters, let's venture into the Commonwealth. On the roof of the mass fusion containment hangar, a dead man can be seen sitting across from a deactivated synth on its knees. This is a reference to the replicant Roy's death scene, in which he stood in the same position in front of Rick at the end of Blade Runner. The poster for The Barfly, a horror film released in 2077 just before the Great War that can be seen in various locations throughout the Commonwealth, references the 1958 film The Fly. The skeleton of a man wearing a blue jacket, a bandana, and holding a machete can be found on a boat alongside a dollfish. This is a nod to the 1975 film Jaws. There is even a cage similar to the one in the movie Under the Boat. In the bathroom of the funhouse at Nuka World, there is a skeleton in the shower, shielding itself from a mannequin holding a knife. This scene is a tribute to the 1960 film Psycho. In a hallway at Parsons Mental Hospital, there is a red carpet with a tricycle placed on it. This is an homage to the 1980 film The Shining, in which Danny rides a tricycle through the hallways of the Overlook Hotel. In the sewers of the fens near the room with the flamethrower, there is a spot that can only be accessed via the console commands. Once you enter this secret area, you can't help but notice a head with bones as legs. The flamethrower and the head are actually references to the 1982 film The Thing. In the middle of the lake, north of the nucleus in Far Harbor, there are two skeletons hanging on a wooden door. This is reminiscent of a scene in the 1997 film Titanic, in which Jack and Rose use a wooden plank as a lifeline after the Titanic went down. As you journey through the wasteland, you may randomly come across a hatch in the middle of nowhere. If you try to open it, the hatch will explode and disappear. This is a reference to the series Lost, in which the Swan Station implodes during Season 2. South of Bradburton in Nuka World, there is a small house where you can find a table with a Chinese officer's sword left on the embers of a campfire. If you relight the fire, a few stimpaks will appear out of nowhere, and if you take the sword, more will drop. This is a small nod to the Dark Souls games, in which players can regain health and powers after resting by a fire. The Red Death, a red glowing mirelurk species found only on the Red Death Island southwest of Far Harbor, is named after the Mask of the Red Death, a short story by Edgar Allan Poe published in 1842. Having ventured into the wastelands, let's now take a look at what some of the game's quests have in store.
Someone there? I can hear you. Get me out of this thing. I want out.
The start of the quest, The Kid in the Fridge, in which we meet Billy, a young boy who hid in his fridge when the bombs fell and remained trapped inside for 200 years, turning into a ghoul, is a nod to the 2008 film Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In the movie, Indy survives a nuclear explosion by hiding in a lead-lined fridge. The Battle of Bunker Hill, during which the player must bring synths back to the Institute, borrows its name from the battle that took place on June 17, 1775 in Boston during the American Revolutionary War. Now let's move on to some of the references behind some weapons and outfits. The Institute Corsair uniform was designed based on Roy Batty's coat in Blade Runner. Nothing official here, but it seems to me that the laser musket is inspired by the laser gun Fry uses in Futurama.
Charge your gun! Oh, right!
The Terrible's rifle is a nod to Jean Cocteau's 1929 novel The Terrible Children, aka Les Enfants Terribles. Next, we'll look at the references hidden in some items we might come across along the way. The serial number on the back of the flux sensor refers to the spaceship from the 1979 film Alien, which has the same serial number. The old newspapers that can be found all over the Commonwealth all have the headline Way of the Future, which is the same line that Howard repeats at the end of the 2004 film The Aviator.
The way of the future.
In one of the game's paintings, Napoleon Bonaparte's face has been swapped with Fallout 4 Studios' executive producer Todd Howard's face.
Could scrub the skin off a synth with that stuff.
Button Gwinnett, the creator of Gwinnett Beer, shares his name with one of the founding fathers of the United States. Okay, time to start hacking some of the terminals to see what references are hiding in there.
Yes.
A log entry by Sergeant Dave Mallory at the BADTFL regional office mentions an officer named Willison, known for causing significant property damage during every operation. This is a nod to Agent John McClane in the Die Hard movies, who has a nasty habit of causing quite a bit of damage during his missions. The 9003 code that Sean gives the player to access his terminal is the same one John Connor uses to steal money from an ATM in Terminator 2.
Hey, it worked. All right. Easy money.
The Beaver Creek Lanes terminal in Far Harbor features the 2078 ranking of the local bowling teams. In third place is a team called the Holy Rollers, which also happens to be the name of Ned Flanders' bowling team in The Simpsons. The evidence log at the South Boston Police Station terminal mentions a suspect named Nicole Connolly, who is charged with grand theft auto. Her nickname is Nico, as a tribute to Nico Bellic, the main character of GTA 4.
Enough, man! Enough!
For the last part, let's take a look at the references hidden in the Pip-Boy games. Grognac and the Ruby Ruins is an homage to The Bard's Tale, released in 1985.
Charge!
The Red Menace, meanwhile, is inspired by Donkey Kong, released in 1981. As for Atomic Command, it is a tribute to the 1982 arcade game Missile Command. Pitfall, on the other hand, is a nod to the Atari game Pitfall, released in 1982. Finally, Zeta Invaders is inspired by the 1978 arcade game Space Invaders. That's it for the main cultural references you can find in Fallout 4. Of course, there are plenty more I haven't mentioned, so if you think of any, feel free to share your insights in the comments section. Thank you for watching this video. A Hideo Kojima channel, over and out.